Okay, here I am. This is my cost-off motor. This is my brushes. These are my springs. See here. Actually, these springs are considerably smaller than the ADC or the warp motors, but they do hold down with a reasonable amount of pressure on the top of the brushes, and my comb's a little bit narrower than the others, so my brushes aren't as wide. But my brushes go to the comb at 90 degrees, just like the ADC motor, unlike the warp motor, which come in at an angle. The question at hand was from someone who has a motor that said the outside brushes came out, just popped up and came out. My brushes on my motor, so I'm using mine as an example, require 3/4 of an inch pull straight up before they come out. And it actually doesn't come straight up, it wants to pull more inwards like this. So if something did pop it up, it'd probably look more like this than it would setting like this, which is more, this is a service mode height, and you can just pull all the brushes up. But just pulling it up 3/4 of an inch, there's only an 1/8 of an inch gap between the brush holder and the brush at the comb. I already took a measurement here. It's kind of hard to see it in the video, this little thing here, but I wanted to show that pulling straight up, it really doesn't pull straight up because it's going to follow the spring. It's not just going to come straight up. If it did come straight up, it's going to have to overcome a fairly large force. I don't think a little bump, an 1/8 of an inch or smaller, coming in a circular fashion and hitting the brush at 90 degrees, even with a little tiny ramp, it might cause the brush to bounce. Boom, 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 and bounce hard, causing arcing and all that, but not to bounce all the way out with what's shown here. So I wanted to show you that there is considerable amount of height that these have to overcome in order for a brush to actually come out. So under a normal situation, I highly doubt, even from this, because yeah, that wants to set like that. That's what more that I would expect. If I saw that, if I saw the brush that looked like that, kicked out, kicked forward, and sitting in there, then I could say, yeah, maybe they get kicked out because of some debris that got in there and kicked it out at a high rate of speed. But to throw that straight up, to throw that brush straight up, and to come and set just like that, no way. There's no way it's going to happen just randomly on its own, let alone 4 brushes on the outside. So not only am I going to talk, I'm going to show what it's going to take. And my things are way weaker. Maybe I'll pull the my warp motor out, but I can't do it on the warp motor because it comes at an angle and not straight up. And mine comes straight up. And you know what? It doesn't. At 3/4 of an inch, that's straight up. I don't see it. Don't see it, guy. Somebody's been in that motor. You say you haven't. That's okay. Whatever you say. But I can tell you that thing didn't get thrown up from a piece of debris an 1/8 of an inch or less. And I know yours probably doesn't have any much more room than mine. So if it's kicked up like that, yep, I'll believe it. I'll buy it. But just pulled straight up, pulled straight up, I expected this to pop out. Just bam, it's out. If it's going to really toss it out, it's going to toss it out. It's just going to be out. It's not going to be in a nice, neat resting position, all neat and tidy for you. Not going to happen. It's a violent thing. It'd have to be a very violent thing to pop that straight up. That's considerable amount of force, and I'm pulling it. You're talking a little bit in there, just a little slap on a 1/4 inch, and have that thing jump almost a whole inch to come out of there. So, showing, yeah, we got to show something here. So, here's another view. See how that kind of goes? If I could do this slow motion, I would. And I'd like to see the condition. I'd like to see the condition of the brush on the back side, as would all of us, because that'll be the telltale sign. If that bottom of that brush is just horrendously trashed, and even then, I don't believe it. It just tear the brush apart and bounce all, and the brush would just bounce. So there's my ditty guy, and all of you out there, and this is just pulling it straight up. You can see how it kind of moves forward, and I'm just pulling straight up. You can't deny that. So it's not a straight up motion, and it would have to put a lot of force on a little bump. Somebody's been messing with your motor. Like I said, there might be a chance that somebody else sold you a bad motor, kept a good motor for themselves, whoever you bought it from. That's a possibility.